Hey guys, welcome to another review. I am Mr. P. Today I'm going to be doing a hybrid. So today we're doing a hybrid RDA clone. Okay, so today we are doing the Valkyrie hybrid. This comes from GreyHaze.co.uk. This was paid for. This come at a cost of £39.99, so 42 quid odd delivered, I believe it was. So yeah, that's what we're doing, Valkyrie hybrid. A little bit of information about it from the site. Obviously this is a clone, so beware of that, but this is a non-branded clone, no branding or whatsoever on this. So if you're after a non-branded EH Pro Valkyrie clone, GreyHaze, I'll read you what it says. The EH Pro Valkyrie hybrid is a mod and an RDA in one. Why would you want this? Low voltage drop, smaller form factor, and boy does it look amazing. This setup has a tri-post dual airflow control RDA with a silver plated top and bottom contact. The 18650 battery tube with reverse threaded locking button. This mod has the works and is capable of chucking serious vapor. Lightweight and slim, with a curvature fits perfectly in hand. The mod will be hard to put down, and I'm sure perfect dripper setup, especially for first timers. And then a few of the features that I'll go over in a close-up and then obviously rehash when I come back up to me. So that's what we're doing. What I'm going to do is I'm going to chuck this down on the table, do a quick close-up for you so you can see it all in its sort of beautiful detail, and then I'll bring it back up to me. We'll have a nice little vapor. Alright guys, a little close-up of the EH Pro Valkyrie. First of all, a little look over fire button here. You know, it's quite a nice little push going on there. Reverse threaded, so you know that's locked off, quite nice. Into sort of, you've got it's semi-polished here, and you've got a high polish ring there, a bit of battery venting just there too. All the way up here, you know, it's just, again, it's a semi-polished. It wouldn't quite go as far as saying it's brushed, but it's not far off. Then you've got a polish ring here, and you've got your top cap here, a 510 connection there. Every drip tip I've tried in there fits just nice. As you can see from this, this is not the logoed version, this is a non-logoed EH Pro version, so happy about that. A lot of you guys will be. Airflow control, 1, 2, 3 different holes there for your airflow control, which is pretty cool. I'm going to take it apart. Let's have a little look. Top cap off. Now, the top cap's in two pieces, so if I just sit her down there, she might roll off. You have to kind of give it a good old twist. These two fit incredibly tight. There we go. So into the top cap, 510 connector, a bit of a reducer at the top, just a hunk of metal really. As you say, 1, 2 and 3 air holes there for your airflow option, so you can have single and dual coil in this bad boy. Now this is the top cap that sits over your deck. Now 1 and 2 air holes, obviously you're only going to need 2 in here. O-ring and O-ring. The first one I noticed, as it sort of slits over this O-ring here, it kind of grips and it's nice and tight, and it kind of clicks into place down the bottom here, but you'll see when I put it all back together. And then obviously, you know, this fits on here like so. Lovely stuff. Into the deck. Now we've got double O-ring affair down here, and obviously your cap slips over here, double O-ring affair there to hold it in, and then 3 post system. Okay, the holes in these posts are about 0.8 to 1 mil. Phillips head screws on the top, fairly chunky, so you could wrap under the screw if you wanted to, and a very fractional lip just there. I don't know if you'll be able to make that out. Very fractional lip there. For those of you who wanted a fractional lip, and it's, you know, a little bit of juice retention, but not loads, but as the real thing by VA. So switch, let's have a little look here. Oh, let's take the battery out. In there, I don't know if you'll be able to make it out down there, you can. There's a flathead screw. I've tried to get that little twist here and there, but it doesn't seem to move too much. But obviously that's your positive connection, and it's insulated up the top there, but it looks like an O-ring and some dowel ring. So yeah, sweet. Let's put her down there. Now, switch. So, bit of a, I haven't actually taken this switch apart yet. Don't even know if you can, so we'll have a look. So you've got your big bulb at the bottom, and then you've got your actual switch mechanism itself. As it clicks out, you know, you've got a nice little push there. Kind of feels like magnets to me, I'm not sure. In here you've got your battery adjustment. This is reverse threaded, guys, so when you want to adjust your batteries, reverse threaded up, we can actually take that out. These contacts and this contact in the tube are silver plated. What can we achieve with this? Let's have a... I don't actually know what's going on in this switch, to be honest. Does that undo? Oh, yeah, that undoes. Okay, the big Delrin bit comes out, and then you've got another contact. That's a bit disappointing, to be honest. That's actually copper. That's not silver, but that is what it is. Can I get anything else out here? Oh, yep, I can. Another bit of Delrin there. Okay, then we've got a clip in there around that. Why is it not focusing? There we go. Spigot pin around that copper contact down there. I'm not undoing it. Okay, the question as to whether this is magnetic or spring will shall remain a mystery, because I'm not prepared to undo that and try and put that back on. But that's where we are for now. So to put it back together, your Delrin goes in there. Give it a little push down with your screwdriver, whatever. So you know the contact just sits above that bit of Delrin. Then this piece will screw into here, which you'll hope. Getting it back to how it was. It's never as easy, especially with Delrin. You've got to be so careful. There we go. So we screw that down like so. This has obviously got an edge cut out for it there to sort of slot into there. So, and Mr. Proton's been a bloody big wally, hasn't he? Yes, he has. So we'll have to unscrew this again. And we'll have to think before we act and plonk that in first. Then this goes that way. So I'm going to have to, sorry guys, I'm going to have to flip it upside down to get it to take. Yep, it's going to have to be done upside down. I was hoping I'd be able to sort of just balance it in there. It's going to have to be done upside down, but what you're doing is basically screwing that back into there, like so, hopefully. There we go, it's just caught there. So basically turn your switch. Now, we should be able to give it that way, so there we go. So what's happening in that switch is the copper contact sitting just shy of the bit of Delrin that this silver contact's sitting on, and then as you give it a push, it's making contact with that, which in turn has this in it, and this is reverse threaded, so make sure you stick it in the wrong way, because, or what feels like the wrong way, and then that's our switch. So that's, I mean, that's fairly easy, to be honest with you. So to adjust the battery out, you just plonk your battery in, and then screw her on. Loads of battery rattle there, so undo it there, give that a nice little turn. I'm going to guesstimate about that much, screw it back together, and because it's reverse threaded, intelligent bit designed by EH Pro, usually is, well, by Vicious Hand to be honest with you, but you know EH Pro have climbed it well. You're not going to loosen that screw off as you're tightening this down, so a little bit of battery rattle there. So obviously I've gone about a quarter of a turn too much, undo a little bit of a turn there. And that should still be rattly. Damn you. This is the problem with the battery adjustment. I mean, the Qi is very similar to this, but the Qi design wasn't intelligent enough to make it reverse threaded. So every time you got your battery to the point where it should be, it then tightened it down slightly by twisting the tube with the battery. There we go. And then that then caused you have to do the whole lot again. So whilst I'm here, I'm going to do a quick recall for you just to show you how easy it is and how it can be done. So what I've got today is this is a bit of a 0.5 canthal, going a little bit low, and that is a 2mm. I want to say drill bit, but it's not quite a drill bit, but you know what I'm saying. Is it going to focus? There we go. So I tend to do 2 wraps and ignore the first 2. Then focus on what's actually going to be my course. We're going to go for 8 wraps. That's 4, 5, 6, 7, and then 8. Fairly big call. Then undo 2 of these legs, like so. Grab me little pliers and give that a squeeze and a pull. Give that one a squeeze and a pull. We've gone sort of 180. There we go. Bend her back round like so. And that is a little 0.5 canthal microcoil. So all we've got to do, straighten our legs up, plonk her down there, and undo the screws. Now I've run this in single, I've run this in dual, and the same as every other atomizer that's got single and dual, you're gonna prefer whichever your preference is. My preference has and will always be single coil. I believe they perform better. I believe the flavour's better, and with the right build, I believe equivalent resistances, the vapor can be better, unless you're doing ridiculously low. So, And before anyone jumps on me for saying that, I'm talking about on your everyday builds. I challenge you to build a 1-ohm dual core that performs as well as my single. So, Canthal through the post. It's a fairly simple, you know, simple rewick. I mean, we've got to a point in. Oh, hello, the screw just falling out the top of the central one. We won't worry about that just now. We'll get the coil in position, then we'll stick her back in. So obviously, guys, don't back them screws off too much, because otherwise you might lose one, and that's not a good thing. You do get a few spares with this, you know, some O-rings and so on, but screws isn't one of them, or it wasn't for me anyway. Then if I just grab a little screwdriver, fairly simple stuff, screw it down. Now, it depends on what wire you're using with this. I have noticed that with the thinner wires, these screws undo on me a bit. So if I just give that a little go like so, wash wash, that should hold in there just fine with this 0.5, but when I've been using sort of 0.34 and so on, I've had to make sure these are really hulked down, and you do risk cutting the wire if you go too far with these screws. I mean, that there, you see me hulking it down on camera, I broke my tails off, and all of a sudden I can screw it down a load more. So we've got a battery in, we've got a coil in. Let's just have a little test fire, see where we are. Reverse threaded, Mr. P, don't be a knob. So obviously we're hot logging on the negative side. There we go. So line up nice and evenly. I'm just going to chuck a little bit of cotton in and then stick some juice on it, and we're going to come back up to me and have a nice little vape. The reason I'm doing this on camera, guys, just because I can, to be honest with you. I did have a coil in it, but I wasn't particularly happy, so I decided to do a full rewick. So I need to do this before I can actually vape it with you. So that's what I'm doing. Bit of cotton wick, standard stuff really. We're used to this by now, you know, make it thinner one end, give it a little roll up. We're not going in so it's too tight. We are going to need to go tighter than that on the end though. This does not fire under its own weight, because putting it down without a locking ring on has just reminded me to tell you that. So just a simple case of a little pull it through and a twist as we pull through, and about there. So what I'm going to do is grab my little scissors, one there, make this one longer there. Then what I would do is typically tuck this sort of under here, like so. Hopefully you can make that up probably, but I tuck that under there like that, and this is always easy with e-liquid on. And I've been kind of getting that over the top. I'll put some e-liquid on, it might be easier for me to show you. Bit of grants today, gotta say. Perfectly honest, it's even more disappointing than it was when I first tried it. So stick that down there like so. And I've been running rum around the back, because you've got all this retail around the back here. You've got all that space to use. So utilise it, guys, because this is a bit of a tight dripper in here. Just line up one of your air holes from here with your coil like so. Alright. Then you'll hopefully get to hear what I mean by this. As I push this on, going for the single coil option, so as I push this on, line it all up, kind of it grips, and then it clicks. Okay, and once it's clicked in, it's basically clicked in, it doesn't move anywhere. In fact, so much so that you kind of adjust the airflow fine, but to pull it off, more likely going to pull off both sections of that, because it's got such a firm grip on that bottom section, which could be a disadvantage. Standard 510 drip tip from Mr. P's collection, and we're firing. So guys, back up to me now. Hey guys, welcome back up. As you see in the close-up, tidy little bloody hybrid, if I'm perfectly honest with you. You know, a few things to go over. 18650, obviously, you know, fantastical. Top and bottom cap, spot on. I did say in the close-up it come with a sort of a little suede pouch, which most DH Pro stuff does, and it did, along with some spares. Unfortunately, I do not have them with me, so I wasn't able to show you those, but you do get some spare O-rings and bits and bobs in there included, if you were to need them. So that's pretty cool. As you can see, I've got this set up in single coil, and the advantage with this is that obviously you can run single and dual. The kudos that doesn't necessarily go to H Pro, it goes to Fisher's Hand, because they've cloned it, but you know, they've cloned it spectacularly well. Also, the switch, bear in mind when you first get it, reverse threaded, so you're going to have to adjust your battery rattle that way. And I can't tell you what contact, what kind of mechanism that's using in that switch, whether it's magnetic or whether it's spring. It's not stated, and I'm not willing to take it apart past what you saw in the video. But quite a clever switch design. Again, you know, make sure they're relevant. Kudos go to where they're supposed to. But it's been cloned very, very well. You see what I put in this in the video. You know, it's a sort of, like I say, single coil, 0.5, quite a low one. Certainly capable of chucking the vapour. Now, some of the features, it says it's silver coated contacts, so the contacts top and bottom are silver plated, giving you a very low voltage drop, and I can say that I agree with that. Voltage drop on this is minimal. It's hard to test because I haven't got a multimeter with me, and usually I'll attach a tanker meter to a mod, but because this is a hybrid I can't do that. Dual airflow control, dual and single, and it's fully controllable. I mean, this on a single, equivalent to about a 2.2mm draw, there or thereabouts, and it's more than enough for your everyday vaping when it's wide open. But you could knock off half of that hole, make it tighter, knock off 3/4, make it tighter still. Obviously, and increasing your flavour and throw it if that's what you wanted to do, or if you just preferred the tighter draw. The fact you've got the option for your single and your duals, I love that, because now and again I like a dual, but typically I'll be a single coil kind of guy, and they're not offered as often as I'd like them to be. It says takes an 18650 battery. Indeed it does. Tri-post for dual coils and a single if you want to. Adjustable top and bottom contacts. Okay, so in the close-up I said I wasn't willing to push it, so obviously the top contact is adjustable. Now, with the amount of adjustment I've got in the bottom contact, I wouldn't see a need to adjust the top one, if I'm entirely honest with you, but if you needed to, you could. Low voltage drop, and it said this MOS had no logos and comes with a suede pouch. It doesn't say spares, but also spares, so no logos. Now, to be honest with you, I'm glad there's no logos, and it's not because I'm hoo-ha about clones, it's because I think it looks better. It's as simple as that. For me, it's purely a looks thing, and without them logos, I actually prefer the look of this mod. Hybrid, in fact. Lovely. Just have a little re-drip whilst I go over a few things. Now, I will do a 5-point hit list with this, or I suppose it'd be a 6-point hit list with this actually, as I normally do, and obviously anything relevant will come up then. So, first of all, on the hit list would be looks. Out of 10, what do I think it looks like? I think it looks like a 10 out of 10, to be honest with you. I love the look of this thing. I think the form factor is fantastic. I love the size of it. This reverse thread locking ring looks cool, and with that unlocked, the button just sticking out the bottom there is beautiful. I like the mixture of a brushed and a polished finish, because it gives you options for your drip tip if nothing else, but I like that mixture. The flare, very, very cool. Again, these kind of marks should be going to Vicious Ant for their design, but in terms of the quality of the clone, having cloned that, spot on 10. Usability, now, it depends on what you're doing. Put a battery in, adjust your battery rattle, that's nothing. Build a new coil, single, dual, whichever your preference is and whatever you're used to is nothing. And it's great if you're sort of a beginner to this, because you can start with a dual and move on, start with a single, sorry, move on to a dual, adjust your airflow and anything that may be needed. So that's pretty cool. I have noticed when you give it a pull, the whole section comes off. Okay, so it's very hard to get just that top cap off. I mean, it's a bit easier now, and I'll explain why. But you know, it does grip on there, so if you are going to be re-dripping this and you want to take that top cap off for whatever reason, make sure you've got a hold of the bottom part of it and pull. Most guys would just at your drip tip and then drip it in. Drip tips fit in there fine. 510s snap in, lovely. 510 drip tip, and I've tried loads and all of them have fitted without a problem, so obviously done to the right specs. 8.9mm I believe. In terms of usability, it's as easy as an RDA can get. Simple screw post system. I have noticed you do want to tighten them down, as I said in the close-up, to make sure they don't slacken off, and then your coil sort of fails to contact properly, and I have had that happen once or twice, so I suppose bear that in mind. But in general, putting a coil in it and doing what you're doing is a 10. Maintenance would be next on the hit list. Now, maintaining this, There are going to be downsides because it's a hybrid. In general, your maintenance of a mod would be to clean your contacts and to chuck a battery in. So for that, it's easy because you haven't even got to clean your contacts really. I mean, it may be a bit difficult to clean that top contact, earbud or something along them lines, or a pair of tweezers with a bit of cotton wool and a bit of a white spirit or something like that. A bit of a cleaning solution will do it. But it's a bit more work than just an exposed contact. Bottom one's nice and easy, no problem whatsoever, but just bear in mind that you've got another contact in that switch that may need to clean up here, now and again, here and there, either way. But maintenance, the part of the hybrid that would be dripper usually maintaining the dripper would be washing it all out. Because of the form factor of this and the fact it's a hybrid, washing it isn't as easy as I'd like it to be. Now, in one sense, because typically if I needed to change my coil, I'd chuck the atty off of it, stick it under the water, give it a rinse, maybe a bit of a kettle situation, how bad it was, and if I was keeping the coil, then I'd dry burn it, re-cotton it, and then I'm away again. Because of the way it's designed, you can't just rinse all this underwater. You can rinse the end, but you've got to be very careful the water doesn't come up here, in through the vent hole, and get in contact with the switch. I'm not saying it's hard to do that, it's not, but you have to make an effort to make sure that happens, or doesn't happen in fact. So I mean, that's a bit of a downside there. Other than that, it's kind of no different to maintaining any hybrid or ATI or mod. I'm going to give it a 9 purely because you have to be aware of that, and there's nothing that can be done about that because it is a hybrid. There you go. Flavour and vapour would be next. This is a 70/30 e-liquid, but I've used 50/50s, I've run single, I've run dual, I've changed about the air holes and so on. At the minute, this is giving me a 10 for flavour and a 10 for vapour, and I'm on a single coil with the air hole wide open. I've run it on duals and the vapours even more so, it's very good. It looks quite big out here, but inside that chamber is actually very small, which increases the amount of flavour you're getting. And if I knock half this air hole off, like so, the flavour steps up again. So that's very nice, and the fact that's how easy it is to adjust your air hole is pretty cool too. So yeah, flavour's definitely getting a 10 from me. I've tried a lot of juices in this and they've all been stellar, and vapour again is getting a 10. What more can you say? Build quality and price will be next on the hit list. So we'll go for price first. $39.99 for a hybrid. A lot of people don't like paying money for a hybrid because it can only ever be a hybrid. You can never use it with anything else. And to some extent I agree, especially when we're talking about Genesis hybrids. I mean, I've got a titanium Cobra. That thing's 180 quid, and I don't ever use the bloody thing. But for 40 quid, I think it's a great buy. I really do. I do notice the voltage drop off is very low. I love the flavour, I love the vapour, I love the form factor. That flare in the middle, it does really fit nicely into the hand. I've got big hands and it's more than accommodated in mine. My partner's hands are smaller than mine, and she, obviously they're smaller than mine, I'd hope they're smaller than mine, but she grabs hold of this and she loves how it feels as well. To use, it's very comfortable, it feels solid as hell. I'm going to give it a 10. There is one little issue, and I will go into that. But build quality is a 10, price is a 10, and the two combined is still a 10. Now the thing I was going to go into is just before starting this recording, as you see in the close-up, there's 3 O-rings, 2 down the bottom and 1 at the top. Now 1 at the top gives you resistance for your airflow, and the 2 at the bottom catch and grasp that top cap. Now the 1 at the top is broken. I haven't got the spares with me. Now as you can see, it's not going anywhere because the 2 at the bottom are doing their job and they're holding that top cap on, and it's still on solid as hell. But my airflow control now does move around a lot more freely. O-ring wear happens. It's just what happens. I haven't used it loads, and I don't necessarily think the O-ring should have gone, but it is a tight fit, that top one, in comparison to the 2 bottom ones. And it does happen, O-ring wear does happen, and you get spares. So yeah, just bear that in mind, that the O-ring did go on me, but even though it hasn't affected performance, it just makes the airflow control a bit easier to adjust. Go figure. The last in the hit list is my overall. Overall, what do I think of this? I think it's fucking fantastic, I really do. I think the form factor is beautiful. It's a very quick in the pocket, hybrid. The flavour's great, the vapour's great, the build is pretty nice and easy, 3-post system, very close quarters that build, but that means intensified flavour, so I'm willing to sacrifice a bit of wiggle room. The voltage drop, you know, the subtle looks of it, it's beautiful and subtle at the same time, and I like that. I like the fact there's no logos on it. There's been nothing in terms of the overall build that's been a problem, and it vapes great. I love dripping. I'm a dripper, and it vapes really well, like a very good dripper. Overall, I'm going to give this a 10. I think if you're looking at one, you're not going to be sorry when you get one. You're really not. Obviously, guys, go over and check out GreyHaze. I'll link them down there. Like I said, this wasn't a free review. This is a paid-for review, and I'm still recommending them. The service was great, and you know, the product is great. So you can't really ask for more from a vendor than that, can you? But other than that, guys, I'm pretty much done here. Check them out. Check it out. Thank you very much for watching. I have been Mr. P, and I shall see you soon.